What's going on, everyone? Jericho Grimwood here with a PlayStation 4 Pro breakdown tutorial as requested by Big Manny21. So what we want to do is we first want to take off the top. If you look at the back here, you'll see that little spot where there's a screw. You want to take the little plate off and unscrew that, thus voiding your warranty. But hey, you got to do what you got to do. It's been a long time since this system has been out, so your warranty is probably done ski. We're going to take off the top. You're going to carefully peel back the edges on both sides and give it a good little snap-a-rooski. Don't be scared if it snaps on you. Not a problem. I mean, don't pull too hard, obviously. So now we've got the top plate off, and we're going to go ahead and unscrew. First, we got to get our tools out. The things that you're going to need are tweezers and little pliers here. These little toolkits you can buy on Amazon. They're just basically microelectronics tools. They come with screwdrivers, bunch of bits, all that good stuff. There's two particular bits that you're going to be using for the PlayStation, and I believe they're both PH1. It doesn't really matter. You'll figure it out once you get started. There's a lot of different little bits in there, but I think it's like PH01. Anyway, you can't really read those, but... we're going to start unscrewing these two screws over the plate. These directly connect your heatsink into your motherboard. Well, not motherboard, but you know, the circuit board. So they're going to be longer screws. So you pull those out. Don't be surprised. With your screws, you want to keep them in a safe place. You'll see here in a little bit, I end up putting them into that little pocket right there. Pull that groovy plate off. And there is a screw in there, but I think I'm missing it, but you know, whatever. The other things that I've got in here, I've got isopropyl alcohol and Q-tips. The Q-tips are to go through and wipe everything down. So we're going to pull off the hard drive cover, and then we are going to unscrew this little protector, this little screw here that keeps the hard drive safe. We're going to unscrew that, get that out of there. Yeah. Look at that. Look at that beautiful man right there. Yep, so we're going to undo that, and we're going to pull out that hard drive. Do it carefully. I mean, it's pretty safe to go ahead and pull it out, but with anything, if this is your first time doing this, you're going to be a little nervous, so your hands are going to be a little shaky. Just go slow. Be careful. Try not to jiggle anything too much or too hard. If something's fighting you too hard, then that's the problem. We're pulling out the power supply right here. Make sure this cable is a little tough to get out, but go ahead and pull that out from the motherboard itself. You don't want to pull it out the back of the power supply. So now that you've got that, on the other side, when you flip it around, you want to pop open the bottom. And the bottom one is a little bit tricky, so you need this little plastic edging tool to kind of get it loose and pop it up off of there. Looks like old Jericho's struggling with it. There you go, buddy. Good job. Way to go. You got this. Don't worry about it. It's only your second time doing it. Anyway, so now that we've got that plate off, we are going to... What we're looking at here is... What we're looking at here is just like a protector plate for the circuit board. Up in the top corner, I'm showing you the tiny little connectors that you've got to take off, these ribbon connectors. Those you are going to want to pull off carefully. Right here, I'm checking my bits to make sure I've got the right size to get them unscrewed and off of there. Oh, the fantastic unscrewing process. How fun. Normally in YouTube videos, somebody just pops in like some random garbage audio track they found online for free on some royalty site, but we're not going to do that here. You're gonna listen to me talk. And if it looks glitchy, I apologize for that. It's sped up, I don't know, but whatever. It's all good. So yeah, here's me taking a little video. So on the back end here, there are two different types of screw bits that you're going to use. The majority of them are the just regular ones, but there are a couple fat boys on there around where the hard drive is. Keep those screws separated. You'll need to have them separated when you go to put it back together. Pay attention to what you're taking out and what you're storing. Just kind of keep it in mind. I recommend taking pictures of where these little plugs go. The more pictures you take, the more you're going to be able to remember exactly how it was. Because, while you're doing this, you're going to end up flipping it around and flipping it to the side and, kind of changing it up. So it's best to keep a record of what everything's supposed to look like when it's put together. That way there's no surprises in the end. And you're not like, well, where the hell does this go? This first ribbon where my hand is right there, there's a little plate that you got to pop up to get that off of there. So don't just go yanking at it. Make sure you flip up that little black plate and they should slide out of there. Here's a little close up of what they look like. You just pull them out, give them a wiggle a little bit. If they give you any trouble, they should come out pretty easily. But yeah, don't tug them too much. Just be gentle. Just be nice. There you go. Little dab will do you there. Same goes for these little baby cables. Go ahead and pop that bad boy on out of there. Come on, man. Don't be scared. Get in there. Come on. There you go, Jericho. Come on, you can get it out. Don't worry. Good job, buddy. There's one more there. I'm not sure I like the way my hands look that close up. And then this little bad boy, make sure you don't forget to take him off. All right. So now that we've got all those ribbons unplugged, we're going to take the plate off of here. And that will expose the circuit board. You can see how dirty and kind of nasty that is. I don't really get it. I don't wipe that off. I probably should have, but I didn't. What are you going to do? Okay, so right here, this is what I'm doing is your processor. You want to be kind of extra careful with this because this is what makes everything kind of work. So be careful with this. It's not a huge deal. Just make sure that when you're taking it apart, you're gentle. The little black screws, they go in there. Keep those separate so you know where they are when you go to put this back together. I can't stress enough how much putting it back together can be a pain. So as you can see, it takes a little bit of prying. I'm being very careful and delicate with that. Set that off to the side and you should be able to go ahead and pop that off. Now a lot of that I skipped. You basically just take it off nice and gently and you'll be able to remove the heat sink underneath it. So that's the heat sink and you're going to clean that out. You're going to basically go through and kind of pick out all the lint and dust and gross stuff inside that heat sink. That's the main reason why your PlayStation makes so much noise. But if you get that cleaned out and you can see through it pretty well, you're in good shape. Now, this fan on the back end, I had 2 screws in that thing that was stripped. So I wasn't able to get that completely off. However, you take your tweezers, get into your fan here. If you look close enough, you can see how dirty it is. That's the isopropyl alcohol I'm getting out. I am going to douse one of these swabs with it and kind of get the excess stuff off of there. You don't want to... isopropyl alcohol is non-conductive, but you don't want to load that liquid in there. You want it to... And it dries really fast. You just want to be careful. So... Typically, this is a little easier if you can get that one plate off, but I'm going in manually and just kind of, getting all that. Look at that. Ugh, Jesus. Just go through and wipe those fan blades out. Get a good wipe. Get as much as you can out of there. This might sound like common knowledge, but the reason that your fans and your PlayStation 4 sounds like an F14 when you're loading it up is because those fans with all that dust on there, it just gets super duper heavy and it can't quite keep up with how heavy it is. Look at that. Ugh. Jesus. Good Lord. All right. Now moving on, we got the can of spray duster. We're going to get all that random stuff out of there. This is the best time to use that because you pretty much hollow bodied your PlayStation. Look at that. They're all in pieces, and don't be scared of that. It's okay. Definitely down the sides, this is your ventilation system for the PlayStation. You want to go through with a swab and get as much dust and dinge off of there as possible. The air canister can only really do so much. You really want to get in there with the tweezers and get in. Yours might look worse than mine. Mine's been cleaned recently. So yeah. We got in there, getting on the other side. This metal plate had a lot of gunk on there, so I kind of took a little bit of time and got all the heavy stuff off. It doesn't really do much, it just didn't look great. So for the sake of aesthetics, I went ahead and wiped it down. All right, now that we've got that cleaned off, you should have your heat sink cleaned off too, that big part. Now it's time to put it back together, which is typically the most nerve-wracking part, because this is the test. You know, this is, if you don't put this back together right, you could potentially ruin your PlayStation. So don't be scared, because you got a lot to lose. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, we're getting the circuit board back on there. That tucks in there nice. Give it, you know, it might take a little time for you to get in there. Obviously, I have a little bit of trouble with it. You want to make sure that all your ribbon cables are out of the way so you can easily plug those in. So we got that in there. And what am I doing here? So with the heatsink, I got a little ahead of myself and was going to put that back in there, but you don't want to do that until you've got your circuit board screwed back in there and in place, because if you flip it over, it's just going to fall out, and you don't want to do that. So we'll save the power supply for last. Now we're going to put the processor back on there. It's pretty easy. You just, if you have trouble remembering how it goes, it's pretty self-explanatory. But if you want to be sure, like I said, take pictures. Pictures always help to make sure you get it in the right spot. Now, you make sure that those are plugged in tight. You don't have to grind them in there, but make sure it's a little tight. That processing chip needs to be pressing down against its connectors for it to work. So now we're going to go through and we're going to plug in these tiny little baby cables that we took off. These are a little tough, just because it takes a little bit of accuracy to get them on there properly and for them to stick. You'll hear a nice little snapping sound as soon as you put them on there, and that's how you'll know they're on there good. So plug back in your ribbon cables nice and gently. Make sure they are snug as a bug in a rug in there. And yeah, this is a fast little video. This is pretty quick. It's going to take a lot longer than, you know, I've obviously got this sped up a little bit to save time, but hey, we're back on there. Everything should be in there. One little side note, I will say that the thermal paste and the thermal paste between the heatsink and the circuit board, that's going to let you know exactly how to put it back together. Those two need to match up. So now we're going to pop in our little cable for our power supply. Be careful with this. You don't want to touch any of them components inside, really. Just kind of make sure you're not messing with that. No liquids or anything in there. Don't touch it with anything. You don't want to short circuit it or fry it. Try not to use any metal to touch it. Gloves are usually recommended, but it's not that huge. It's not that big a deal. All right, so what you see here is my big mistake. I'm putting those screws in, and I'm missing one key item, and that is the metal plate. Totally forgot to put that back on first, so disregard my mistake. I left it. I could have edited this out, but, you know, hey, I wanted to show that even I make mistakes. So as you can see, I end up undoing the screws, looking like a buster. Yeah, make fun of me all you want. I don't care. Yeah, see, thumbs up. Thumbs up for the plate. Let's get that plate on there. Good job. All right, looks like we're back together. So, got everything back together. Hot plate is on there. Now comes the real test. You can see, even sped up, you can see I had some trouble. That's the wrong one. That's the wrong, yeah. There you go. There you go, Jericho. You got it, buddy. Don't worry about it. Make sure you use the right top to get it back on there. It'll snap on. You'll know what's on there. This one's a little tough. I'm going at it from the wrong side there. Clearly making a lot of mistakes. But hey, it's my second time doing it. What do you want from me? Oh, look at you. Just fumbling around like a buffoon, like an idiot. Don't be like me, guys. There we go. There you go. Did you get it? There you go. Look at that. The proud, tried and true. Good job. All right. Put the hard drive back in there. The little hard drive case cover thing. We should have already put the hard drive back in there. All right. And that's a beautiful thing. That is from start to finish a breakdown of the PlayStation. Now, I made the video in a fast pace and you can see me put my stuff away. I made this quickly because you can always, you know, jump back through the video and find the spots that you need to keep going over. No need to have a 2-hour-long video on this. Good job. All right. Now, next thing we're going to do is we are going to finally test it. We need to make sure that it actually works by putting it back together. So let's give it a shot.